Hello, everyone. How's your weekend going? This is Jared the American back with another episode of The Other Kind, and today, oh boy, we are talking about the Dogman. I can not wait. I could not wait for this. I have been doing a little bit of research, been trying to sift through what is real, what is not real, been looking at some stories actually. So during work this morning, so while I was at work, I was listening to some stories on my phone from a channel, really good channel called Dogman Encounters. And it's a channel that, it's self explanatory. It covers stories about the Michigan Dogman. It's really good. You should follow them. Let me actually bring up the channel. Vic does a great job at getting all of his, and I'm going to. So, if you're really interested in this topic, go to Doc. They actually just uploaded a video yesterday. That's the one I listened to during work, and uh, I guess we could listen to it. I don't think he's gonna have a problem with us. I think that's good that we could listen, but I think we need to get into a little bit of background about the Michigan Dogman, and about how it relates to werewolves. And I was watching Monster Quest actually. I was binge watching Monster Quest during my vacation, and I was looking into other like Bigfoot. I might cover Bigfoot next week. So if you have any Bigfoot stories you want to share, someone from a Discord server who I think they want to remain anonymous, they but I'm just gonna say, so this person said that my girlfriend's dad and aunt live in a really secluded rural hilly area with a lot of natural springs, but still a couple of hours away from each other, and they swear up and down they found Sasquatch tracks. So I think that's pretty interesting. Obviously, last week we did a follow up on the trolls, and we covered a alleged Yeti or Almasty encounter in Murmansk, Russia. And I think that it would be very, because some people, they think they're seeing Bigfoot, but they don't even think it's a Bigfoot what they're seeing. But yeah, you gotta go check. He also has my Bigfoot sayings. This guy, love it. I loved it, and it's all it's not like he's one of those channels who like Mr. Nightmare, and this isn't this on Mr. Nightmare, but they read these stories. No, they actually have the actual guests, and a couple of these people you can tell that something happened. You can tell because some of them have a hard time. It's almost like you're a veteran of a war trying to recount what happened, like if they've lost the limb and they're still experiencing PTSD. If any of you can relate to that, I'm not saying it's like it, but is. And I think that we should, without further ado, get started. And what way to get started is on Legend, this article, Legend or from the Huron Daily Tribune. So this is in Huron, I guess Michigan. Have to be Michigan. Legend or lore, Michigan's Dogman still haunts people to this day. This is from July 8th, 2020. And a lot of these Dogman sightings I was listening to today, some of them were recent. Like one of them was 2020, 2021. That's pretty recent. And I see there's a couple people. If you have any encounters or you want to leave your thoughts, please comment. I'm open to discussion. Want to call me crazy for believing in this? Want to call people crazy? Go ahead. So, legend has it there is a half dog, half man roaming around parts of northern Michigan. Described as a 7-foot tall monster with a dog's head and the torso of a man, it is also described to have blue or amber eyes with a howl that is said to sound like a human scream. So, this 7'5", a lot of the stories I heard, they were like, on average, it was probably like 9 feet. Like the highest I've heard was like an 11-footer. So it's a pretty big animal. Oh, that is a pretty big animal. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. I don't want to. We want the algorithm to pick this up. So the first sighting of the Dogman was in Rexford County in the year 1887. A couple of lumberjacks spotted him as they were working. Since there have been many reported sightings of this creature throughout Michigan, most have been from the northern quadrant. So I guess the Upper Peninsula. If anyone from Michigan, please tell me if that is true. My aunt's boyfriend actually is from Michigan, so I should have asked him about this. I should have. I might like the trolls. I might do a follow up next week. I might actually have him on if he wants to discuss anything, because I think the best person to have on is a Michigander. And I would love to have him on. And he's obviously I don't get into politics on the stream. But I think that he would be a great. I think he'd be great knowledge. So I will probably reach out to my aunt, see if she can get into contact with him. He's a good man. So then there's this one, which is a story that's been told a lot. I've heard this. So in 1938, so this was apparently in Paris, Michigan. It says a man was fishing along the Muskegon River when a pack of wild dogs attacked him. So apparently it was in Paris, Michigan. So I'm not sure where that is. I've never been to Michigan. He was able to scare off most of them, by firing a shotgun in the air, but one seemed not to be unfazed by the firearm and instead stood on its hind legs and glared at the man. Similar sightings occur more frequently throughout the 1950s in Allegheny County. Then, in the 1960s, reports of seeing the beast came from Cross Village, Big Rapids, and Manistee County. DJ Steve Cook of Traverse City, Michigan, recorded a song in 1987 about the Dogman legend. Though it was supposed to be a prank, after the song was released, dozens of calls came into the radio station of supposed encounters from his listeners. Traverse City filmmaker Rich Brower and his production company, Brower Productions Inc., have produced 2 Dogman films that are in the pre-production phase of their third and final chapter. Reports still continue to this day. While some were hoaxes, one must wonder if the Dogman legend is real. And this is by Tiara Smith. That's something, and we should actually get into some Dogman. And so let's actually go to Dogman Encounters, and he has a website, dogmanencounters.com. I think that would be, and let's open up the encounter. So if you have an encounter, this is the website to go to, and it says you'll never look at the wood the same way. And a lot of these people who I was hearing about, they are not the same after it. Let me tell you that, people. These people are not the same after they heard it. So, and this is not just Michigan. Michigan appears to be one of the hot spots, kind of like how the Pacific Northwest is a hot spot for Bigfoot, or the Rockies are as well. And each one of these states have at least one Dogman. So, that's really. Let's actually click on Michigan, because I see New Jersey doesn't have any. We have the Jersey Devil, and I think we'll go down. I think this should be sufficient. And to listen. All right. So we have 2 from Manistee, 2 from Oceana County, Saginaw, Washington, Mackinac. I think that's how you pronounce it. Remember, some of these are native names. So let's, without further ado, all right. So Manistee County, the I encounter. Let's start with Michigan, because I know Wisconsin's also a pretty big hotspot. That is also a hospital, but it's right next to Michigan. I never saw it, but in 1975, I was newly married, about 21 years old, and had a small baby. My sister, who was a teenager, was visiting us. My husband, my sister, and I had all gone to our bedrooms to settle down and go to sleep. I would say it was around 11 or 12 at night. We were just starting to relax and get sleepy when out of nowhere there was this horrible loud howl/yell. I mean, it was so loud it made my chest vibrate and my ears hurt. The sound was not human, but had a guttural human-like sound mixed with what sounded like a wolf. We were living in a mobile home at the time, and it howled just outside our back door in the hallway near our bedroom. And we jumped out of bed, looked at each other, and both said at the same time, "What the hell was that?" My husband was 10 years older than I was, and was an avid hunter. He wasn't the kind of guy to scare easily. His face drained of color. My sister came running down the hallway, white as a ghost, and said, "What was that?" I told her I didn't know. My husband said he was getting his rifle and grabbed it out of the closet. He opened up the back door and yelled out into the wind. "You better get that out of that. I think we know what that shit out of here, or I will blow your head off." He listened a moment before I yelled at him to please shut the door. He did, and we never heard anything of that. And we never heard any more after that. Needless to say, we stayed up all night, afraid to go to sleep. I have never forgotten that howl. There's no way it was a dog or coyote. I have heard both howl. It wasn't a guy joking around either. It was so loud, there was no way a human could have made that sound. I love your show, and I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who has heard something like this. Sue Baker. Date, July 1975. Wow. All right. So there's another one from Manistee. Yeah, it's an anonymous one. It's a shorter one. My friend and I were walking in the woods behind my house, and I was recording with my phone. Something made me look in a certain direction. I saw a black figure appeared to be standing on two legs with long arms, completely black and hairy, about 7 feet tall. It turned towards us, and we ran. At first, I thought of a bear, but after viewing the video, we realized it was definitely not a bear. It had been behind a tree and then came out and turned toward us. It stood completely still and made no effort to advance towards us. We didn't give it a chance. I grabbed my friend and yelled, "Go!" We watched the video on a big screen TV, and it looked like a werewolf. It has pointy ears and long arms. Could not see the eyes. I believe if this was not a shape shifting demon, that is Dogman. So that's the other nasty counter. So let's see. And if you do have a story, all right. So let's see. How are we doing there? How's everyone? Streams healthy? Any Doesn't look like we got any problems. Without any otherwise, let's see. Where was I? Alright. This is interesting. So this is Oceana County, Michigan. My encounter happened in February 2009. In November 2008, I broke my arm and I was basically stranded at home. I was unable to drive or work and was going stark raving mad with boredom. My best friend, who would drive the 35 miles from North Muskegon to pick me up in Shelby, was just to take me back to Muskegon for a visit at her home. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Uh, this sister getting her brush. So my first, I broke. Let's see. So wait, just to take me home, just to take me back to Muskegon for a visit at her home. She take me to dinner or out to see a movie, only to deliver me home to Shelby after whichever activity. It was truly an act of self-love. All right. So one night she was driving me home. It was very late, well after 11 p.m. We were on US 31 northbound around Rothbury area of Oceana County on the expressway. Being February in Michigan, the roads were naturally snowy with scattered patches of ice and bare pavement. There was still a small pickup. There was a small pickup truck in front of us, about 5 car lengths ahead of her car. When all of a sudden we saw something, two legs dart out from the left of us, just in front of an overpass. It ran across the 2-lane highway and hit the back of the small pickup in the rear quarter panel, causing the pickup to fish out. Luckily, the driver of the small pickup regained control, but they didn't stop to see what collided with their truck. If anything, it seemed to pick up speed and get the heck out of there. My friend and I watched in utter astonishment as the creature finished running to the right and disappeared into the weeds and trees along the highway. It didn't even break us right after it hit the truck. We looked at when I sat in silence for a minute, and then I said, "Do you see that?" He said, "Yeah, I saw it." We finished the ride to my house in silence, both lost in our thoughts. It looked like a giant dog or a wolf. It was on its hind leg, not fours, and it was at least 7 feet tall. It had pointy ears, a kind of mane around its neck, much like a lion's mane. It was dark in color, and its hind legs looked like a dog's, which was even more pronounced as it pronounced as it was running on its hind legs. Much like a lion's mane. So that, if you know the thumbnail of this, it's a sighting of a Dogman. I've always seen it, and I've always thought that looks like a lion. It doesn't look. It says it has a mane, and it looks like a. Which is he? It's from like where Freely Swing has ran, and it seemed to have its mouth slightly open. It had an elongated face, very much like a codified face, and a long nose protruding from its face. Its face was covered by longish hair. The entire creature seemed to be covered in long hair, but I can't recall if it had a tail. Something tells me it did, but I can't recall for certain, so I don't want to say it did, when in fact I'm not sure. We thought perhaps it may have been one of the Michigan Dogmen that is said to be in our area. Being a former Native American area, we have heard the stories, but never met anyone who has had a first encounter. It was always someone who knew someone who knew someone who saw something. But now my best friend and I definitely saw it. We had a first-hand experience. Our encounter was brief, over in a matter of mere moments, but it was front and center of us, and we saw it clear as a bell. Laura Love. All right. Sorry. It really does remind me of that one Dogman photo. Let me get it up. There we go. Let me. So I've heard conflicting reports about this photo. Never had a clear. Don't know anything. Behind this. Oh, I mean, if you could tell me, I would love to know. I would 100% love to know. But I think we need to go to the other. Was that the other one? No, this is another. All right, so we're just going to get through these Michigan ones. I think I need a drink. I usually don't drink Coca-Cola. I'm usually a Dr. Pepper guy. But I am really tired from working today. Plus, I've also got to do workout. I got to work out today. And yeah, I am hungry. So I'm going to get this bag. Get a couple chips. Just replenish before I start going over, because I'll be here for a long time just reading. And I just have to say, these are interesting stories so far. How's everyone doing here so far? I see we got a couple people, and I appreciate that you're taking time out of your day to come in. And don't be afraid to comment. Please, let's get some interaction. And, all right. Oh, this is another one. And looking, it's anonymous from January of 2016. So that's a while ago. All right. I encountered a bipedal wolf-like creature here in eastern Michigan, and it got me spooked. I was out shoveling snow as is common here in my state. My encounter happened at a place just south of Rothbury, Michigan. I decided to take a walk in my family's woods one day. That's when my life changed forever. My family owns 270 acres of land here in the town/city of Montague, Michigan. I ventured out into those woods, as I've done many times, hundreds of them. The walk started out as anyone would. I started to follow the creek south to check for deer stands on our property. The walk went as planned until I got about 300 yards south of the house. I stopped to have a cigar. My eyes started to wander as I scooped for deer or coyote. As I gazed back and forth, I noticed this figure and froze. Literally froze. This thing made eye contact with me and stood up. It was hairy and had very broad shoulders and amber colored eyes. It let out a growl unlike any other I've heard. This wolf, as I call it, made 2 leaps and was gone. Just checking. The most surprising thing about this encounter was how silent the woods were up to when I had the encounter. And that is something that, so all these Dogman encounters I was listening to, no matter if it was in Britain, whether it was somewhere, it was in Tennessee or Ohio, anywhere else, the woods will always seem to get silent. And there's a lot of similarities actually with these Dogman encounters. A lot of freakingly interesting. I'm not sure if interesting is the best word, but there's a lot of weird similarities in all these Dogman encounters, including a good chunk of these people say, "Oh yeah, the thing smiled at me straight up. It just or it felt evil." I mean, these are people who are all of these people do not know. I'm going to say that a good majority. I'm not good with percentages. A lot of these people do not know each other, or so. Let me get this going. All right, so this thing made eye contact with me. So I was like, eye contact me. So the most surprising thing about this encounter was how silent we're up to the encounter. So that you know, your episode 8 is what made you want to talk about this. So I guess enough. I'm not sure. So I guess episode 80 of these, because they go on for. He's been doing this for Godway Creators Channel. 2014. There's actually another story. If you know who Mr. Ballin is, love Mr. Ballin. The Pine Homa for Wolves. I could play that. I'm gonna play that video. I might play an excerpt. I don't think he's gonna take it down. Or we could just. All right, so Saginaw County, Michigan. And I saw that there's some in. When I was looking, there's a couple in California. I was arriving home to my apartment at 11:45 p.m. when I felt a presence by the wood line. I saw something look at me, and then finally I saw these two eyes. It seemed like it was talking to me. That's another thing. These eyes, they seem to glow. Most of the encounters that you hear, they always seem to glow. And I guess that. So I could only see the eyes in the shape of the head. Another thing is the head appears to be massive. Someone actually described the head as the size of their coffee table. I guess they had a small coffee table. Because if it's a big one, ooh boy, I don't want to get near that dog. Or Dogman. I couldn't really see his body, but instantly I felt fear and went inside my apartment. When I was inside, I started to look through the blinds and just a bit. I didn't want to move the blinds that much because I knew he knew where I was, so I didn't want to move the window blind. Then I saw it heading my way. This beast looked like a bodybuilder. That's something else. Is that they look like. I remember one woman and said that, or man, I forgot who it was, but one of these witnesses said that it reminded them of when Arnold Schwarzenegger was younger, and younger Arnold, young Arnold. So let me just bring up a photo of Schwarzenegger, because that's what he got famous for, being a bodybuilder. So imagine something with this build coming right towards you. I bolt. Let's see. When I started to look with a wolf or dog-like head, I've heard that they have dark fur, look like a timber wolf. Looks like a timber wolf is what I've heard. Because of its silhouette, this thing must have been 7 to 8 feet tall. It stopped just for a second right in front of my window, then it left. I've never feared for my life like I did. I guess that's it, Vic. I hope to hear from you soon. Rigo Batsut. Yeah. I That's a pretty Italian name. Let's see. We're almost done with Michigan. Surprisingly enough, we'll probably go to Wisconsin next. I know New York is also upstate New York is a hotspot for cryptid activity. Like, we all think of New York as just New York City, but it's so much more. You got like Bigfoots going on, you got UFO, paranormal, all sorts of stuff is going on. I have had 3, so let's see how long. And this is anonymous, but they said it's from. So here are the dates: mid-September 2005, July 20th, 2015, and February 21st, 2017. So, and the times are 1:45 p.m. for mid-September, 10:30 p.m. on July 20th, and midnight for February 21st. I have had 3 different encounters with 3 different creatures. I know what I saw. When I was younger, I saw what looked like a wolf or a big German shepherd on its hind legs running through a very thick patch of woods. It only happened for a second, but I remember the long muzzle and the pointy ears distinctly. Another thing, pointy ears. One of the one I was listening to before I got on, guy said that the ears looked like the ears of a Doberman. So, ears. So I'm not sure how many of you own Dobermans. My dad used to actually have pet Dobermans, but they have the pointy ear. This is share this tab. So look at that. So something kind of like this. And obviously German Shepherds and Dobermans, I think Rottweilers as well, they come from Germany, where coincidentally a lot of these werewolf stories came from, and the German immigrants who were leaving the German states around the time of around the 1800s, so like around the revolution, 1848 revolution, which plays a lot into history of German unification. Like, German history, so fascinating, so interesting. But I got so this is the first one. It was on a timeline. It only happened for a second, but I remember the long muzzle and pointy ears distinctly. Second encounter was more exciting. It was late at night after a small barbecue party at my uncle's farm, miles north of Ann Arbor. I was coming out of the barn to get some more food when I heard 6 breaking in the tree line. Am I right? My first impression was one of the dogs outside, so I went to see if that was the case. I walked towards the sound and remember hearing the creature flinch because the movement stopped as I approached. I called out for the golden retriever and peered into the tree. The barn had spotlight facing the house, and with the white paint job on it, they created a glow that allowed me to see better. About 7 feet off the ground, a long muzzle poked through the trees, followed by the full figure of this creature. It was only 20 feet away from me, so I got the full picture. It was tall and lean, but very muscular. That's what you hear again. Very muscular. These things appear to be very muscular. It has a distinct brown pelt on its body with backlash fur on its shoulders. It had huge paws for feet, but its hands only looked like they had 5 fingers, so they resembled human hands except for the fur and the claws on them. That its head was the scariest. This thing had a huge set of canines. It looked like it was snarling, but I believe it was trying to smile. Oh, that's you see, I told you about the smiling. Look right there. But I believe it was trying to smile. That's something that you hear in these Dogman encounters. The creature tries to smile at you. That's creepy. I couldn't make out exactly what its eye color was because of how dark it was, but it pierced into my soul. As the creature came in the full view, I remember saying out loud to myself, "Werewolf!" I backed up slowly, and the creature stood there like a proud man standing over a deer he had hunted. It watched me for about 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 minutes. That's when my father, uncle, cousin, and grandfather all came out of the barn. When I tell you this thing ran, I mean it ran. It turned around and dropped all fours. That's something else I hear. When these things need to get going, they just drop to all fours and they dash out of there, leaped into the forest, making only a slight noise. I told my cousin about it, but he didn't believe me. I knew my father wouldn't believe me because he doesn't believe in anything. 4 days ago, in my old backyard, the same type of creature knocked on my window. My curtains were drawn to give me a view of the woods. I live in the middle patch of a woods near a fire road. I wasn't asleep yet and couldn't describe what was wrong, but I felt uneasy. I was trying to sleep when I heard a slight scrape at the house wall below my window. My window is 8 feet off the ground. When I sat up in bed to see what was going on, I saw the head of what I can as a werewolf in my window, which is only 10 feet from my bed. I cursed, jumped up, turned on my light, and grabbed the survival machete I had in the closet. I turned to see if it was still there and it had disappeared. The next day I went out to see if I can find any tracks or anything that might prove what I saw, but I never found anything. For about a day I was unsure of myself. And I heard your radio show and decided that I should tell someone who can get the word out there about it. And we have McKeniac County is our final one for Michigan. And then I think we should move on to Wisconsin because that's another hotbed. Normally, I am carrying a 10 millimeter handgun on my belt wherever I go. On this day, I was heading to my doctor's office for lab work, so I did not put on my firearm in holster on my belt. But I did bring in my truck. But I did, due to road construction, I was taking a back road. In the back road to town. As I turned down the road, I noticed something about a half mile up the road into a field on the other side. It looked canine. As I approached the area, I slowed down to have a look. Standing in this field was the largest wolf I have ever seen, and there are 2 different pack of wolves that run the areas between where I live and the town where my doctor's office is. I'm very familiar with wolves, so much so that me being curious about is an anomaly itself. But I was so curious about this huge wolf that I just stopped to get a picture with my phone. Everyone, please understand that for some reason I'm not in the right mind at this point. I'm never curious about wolves. even such huge wolves, and I would not leave my truck to get a picture. Yet I found myself grabbing my phone, shutting off my truck, and walking out into the field to get a picture. I cannot describe what was going on in my head at them. All I knew is I needed to get a picture up close. The wolf moved behind this huge set of bushes. I couldn't see through them out, so I veered to my right to circle the bushes to get a picture. As I came around the bushes, I came face to face with this wolf. It's about 5 or 6 feet away from me. I stopped moving, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm hearing the word "get the picture." As I raised my phone, the wolf growled, and somehow I feel like I understand the growl. This was a warm growl telling me I need to back off. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and I snapped out of whatever was going on. Shoving my phone into my pocket, I said very loudly, "If you want to get hostile with me, buddy, then I'll have a little something for you." I reach for my pistol, which is on my side. I grab air. I run my hand along my mouth, looking for it. My eyes aren't leaving this wolf. It's not there. And it occurs to me I didn't put on my out because I was driving to a gun-free zone and to have lab work done. It's in my truck. Purposely, I turn and walk to my truck. My adrenaline is racing. My instincts are screaming at me to run as fast as I can. But my brain is telling me that this wolf is bigger than I am. I'm 6'7" tall, 300 plus pounds. Not the most fit, but definitely strong enough to contend with a normal wolf in a pinch. And this thing made me feel small. And that running will trigger that predatory instinct. If I run, I won't make it to my truck. I reach my truck, grab the handle, casting over the shore. Casting a glance on my shore, I see the wolf standing with its front legs on the gravel right across the road from me, and I knew that I hadn't let me get any further than that particular distance. I hopped into my truck and into my truck, slammed the door, and reached under my center console for my pistol. As I draw from the holster, I can see a huge nose in the corner of about the center of my driver's side. I realized I had never chambered around into that firearm that morning. The full weight of my stupidity hit me as I act around in the chamber. I glanced into the window and got a sense the wolf was amused. The look on his face, its posture, the eyes, those damn eyes were so human-like that I could read this creature's emotion. It was feelingly amused, while equally curious as to why a thin-skinned and squishy creature such as a human would actually walk right up to it on purpose. I started my truck, put it in drive, and gently pushed the gas pedal. I knew it wasn't going to hurt me. Mock me, yes. Hurt me, no. As I started driving away, movement in my rearview mirror caught my eye. The wolf had turned and started walking back into the field on its two hind legs. So the time of this was 9:20 in the morning, January 2016. That is creepy. That is creepy. Um, so that is Michigan done. So Wisconsin, let's see. All right. I take a breather. I just want to see who else is live right now. I see Cosmos Prime is live. Funny thing is, so I was looking, I saw that Jeremy was, I guess he didn't get any sleep last night. Jeremy Griggs, he was, he had Drew Hernandez on. For a gaming stream. Last night until when I went to bed, they were playing Fortnite. Or when I woke up, crazy MF still playing Fortnite. Like, what the heck? Jeremy, you gotta get some sleep. Dude. No, but still love him. God. All right. Wow. Guess Burnett County in Wisconsin appears to be a hotspot. I was looking for Rio then. All right. We'll probably do like a little bit Wisconsin, Minnesota. We'll do it. We'll just go around the states. Maybe 5 years ago, when I was at a friend's house in the country in Vesper, Wisconsin, when my friend's car turned in, when my friend car turned and came rushing up the driveway. The car came to a halt, and two of my other friends jumped out. They explained that they had seen something they just couldn't describe. If I asked them if they got a good look at whoever had shook them up. They looked at each other and said yes. They said that they were driving through the country on their way to join us and were driving past the farm where they noticed something in the ditch. The friend who was driving said he flashed his brake to get a better look, and it was raised up and ran across the road on all fours. It looked like it could walk on two legs if it wanted to, they both said. They also said that it was half dog, half man, or maybe half dog and half monkey. They couldn't explain how the creature looked any better than that. They just kept trying to compare it to the other animals. They said they were about 20 yards from it. The brights were on and they got a good look at it. Well, that's the story. I'll never forget how stricken their faces were with panic and fear. I don't think they were lying. That's creepy. I just have to say that's creepy. Let me actually do something. Let's see if I can get, because I know Josiah Rise is an epic mic. I see Eric July is trending. I'm just going to see. Hopefully, Epic might. I'm going to go long on this. It's going to be a long stream. I see Golden Age Geek liking my post on Twitter. All right, so Rock County, Wisconsin. We have Wood County. We have Rock County. Where's all right? Let's see. So this was July 2004. Three of my friends and I were out on the field just having a good time messing around. That's when we heard some noises off in a field a couple of 100 yards away. We didn't think much of it. A little while later, we kept hearing the noises get louder. We also could hear trees breaking and things like that. We tried to ignore it, but we soon found out that ignoring those sounds was a bad idea. We saw a creature that was 7 to to 8 feet tall, coming towards us. The creature stood like a human and acted as a human would, but it looked like a dog or a wolf. We were completely surprised. We had no idea what was going on. We ran back to our cars and as fast as we could and drove away. Katie's on. Wonder if you're related to Timothy's on. That would be interesting. I have to say, there's more of this than the trolls. Nothing. You have to read in. At least that was in, and that was Norwegian. At least this is in the U.S. and it's English. Burnett County, Wisconsin. Well, I'm the skeptic of the supernatural, but I believe anything is possible. I won't discount. First Leafy just try and make everyone. I think he's made both the far left woke weirdos and the far right anti wokesters mad at him. I have to say, congrats to Leafy. Maybe we'll get you on to talk some paranormal shit. I don't know. So I'm a skeptic of the supernatural, but I believe anything is possible. I won't discount supernatural occurrences if I can't find a logical explanation for them. I've experienced a few incidents I can explain, but I'm going to tell you about the one that freaked me out the most. So here goes. I live in I live in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, USA. A lot of people in the cities have cabins in either rural Minnesota or rural Wisconsin. Our cabin was in rural Wisconsin in a small town called Danbury. The cabin is along a long lake at the very end of long lake road. Long lake road. Wow. How such brilliant naming. I just have to say that is some good naming. Cabins. Along with the cabin came almost an acre of land covered by thick forest. We carved the trail through the land for ATVs and whatnot. So the scene is set. Now about me. I'm an outdoor enthusiast and have been forever. I'm 6'4", fit, and have been a hunter since I was like 12. I know the environment, the wildlife, and the forest well, and I'm typically comfortable in the woods. I come from a military family and trained in multiple forms of combat, armed and unarmed. I've also have extensive firearms training as a result. Am fairly confident in my ability to defend myself, and I'm not really scared of people. Big predators, on the other hand, like bears, wolves, man, bear, pig, whatever. I'm not a big fan of. This brings me to the wilderness. I'm 23 now, but at the time of the incident, I was 16. Even at 16, I was a decent hunter and had good common sense. Anyway, I was at the cabin with my cousins and grandparents. It was in the middle of summer, I think July, with hot temps and whatnot. My cousin and I were shooting at each other with airsoft guns. We had a full battle going on throughout the property, including the woods, which were my stalking grounds. I was wearing my BDUs with face cover and all, as well as head to toe camo. Our battle ended up around about 100 yards northwest of the cabin in our woods. We ended the war on the main trail and were staying and talking about the events that had transpired. I was still on guard because I always am. I saw that I could be considered to be a tad paranoid. Alright, so we were standing there talking when I noticed something move at our 12 o'clock about 50 meters out. I got quiet and focused dead ahead scanning. My cousin was still talking, so I whispered, shh. So he shut up. I scanned. My cousin, no, I figure the movement I had just seen was a bird or something. As a joke and to freaking out, I told him we were being mocked. That's when I noticed that the woods were dead quiet. Look at that, dead quiet. That is something that is common in all these Dogmen. The woods always seem to be dead quiet, which is creepy. That is creepy. No birds were chirping. There was no sound. That's when I started thinking, this won't happen when a big predator is around. I started looking even closer. That's when I saw. At my 12 o'clock, there was this large animal. It had reddish brown fur and almost blended in perfectly until I focused on it. It had long front limbs, arm-like, with what appeared to be forming claws, and it was standing kind of flat down against a tree like it was trying to be stealthy, even though it was standing like that. It was nearly as tall as me. The only reason I saw it was because of its teeth. I think it was hanging because its wit British teeth were visible. Its snout appeared to be a tad elongated. I couldn't get a better look because my first thought was, we have to go. I even said it out loud. My cousin was already freaked out when I said the word. We both flew up the trail for a cabin. He nearly left me in the dust because instead of running when he did, I waited a good 3 seconds. I even protected him, keeping my eye on until I saw it move. It was fast. That's when I ran like hell. Yeah. Everything is, these things are fast. One said it was like faster than a cheetah. I didn't see where it ran. All I know is I heard it crashing through the woods. And I'm just cousin saw the, which was still 50 meters from the cabin, to wait for me. When I caught up, I yelled, "Go, go, go!" And we both bolted to the cabin. When We got inside and shut the door. My grandma asked why we looked so panicked and had slammed the door shut. I knew they wouldn't believe me, so I said that we had seen a bear. My cousin nodded. Later that night, my grandparents went to sleep. We talked about it. I asked my cousin if he had, yeah. He told me that he had paused for a second to look back after he ran to see if I was running with him. He said that he had seen me looking at it. He said that that's when he saw it move and I run. He said that he had mostly seen a flash of fur. He went on to say he thought it wasn't the right color to be a bear. I also argued that it wasn't the right color to be one and told him that we only had black bears in the area and that it wasn't built like a bear either. I told him I never thought it was a bear. He asked me why I lied to my grandparents. I told him that they wouldn't have believed us. We've kept it between the two of us until now. Still, the animal didn't match any known regional animal profiles in the area. I'm still at a loss for what it may have been. I I do know it was stalking us through though, and that was built like an athletic predator, not a bear. It was as heavy as a bear. Then after the incident, neither of us would go into the woods on foot alone without a gun. We generally only went back in the woods on ATVs from that point forward. I always loved that cabin up until then. Fortunately, the cabin has now been sold. That's that's creepy. That's disturbing. Are you kidding me? This is off topic, but this is soccer news. Apparently, Tottenham are interested in killing Mbappe. Oh no! Oh, because I'm a Spurs fan. Killian, don't come to us. Harry won. There's a reason why Harry King wants out. Oh my god! Like that's stupid. There's no way we're signing Mbappe. If if we somehow sign Mbappe, oh my god, that would be. Well, let me actually talk more. So, did we? Oh, Soccer fans will know. I'm sorry, I'm checking out these memes. Oh my god. This is actual bull crap. There's no way. I gotta get back to Dogman. I saw Daniel Levy and for like the thousandth time this summer. I mean, Levy out. Like, look at what's showing. Daniel Levy, Eric July. What?
I need to just restock something.
Okay. All right, sorry, Mom. Just let me shut this. All right, is that better? 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 All right, that looks good. So, just checking the sound. All right, this is difficult this is a difficult thing for me to write down on paper. I had no idea what a cryptid was until my son told me about his encounter just before it aired on your show. All these years ago, I thought that what I had seen was just a very deformed bear. Just so you know, I was driving, and I never drink and drive. I was 100% sober. I haven't even talked about my encounter since it happened until I told my son. Since then, I have told my best friend. She encouraged me to contact you after we listened to my son's episode together. Most evenings, we just send about an hour before, most evenings just about an hour before that. Some of us enjoy going for deer rides. We have a route we always use. It started around about It started out on Rustic Road, which was southwest of our cabin on Long Lake, just south of Danbury, Wisconsin. The route took us to a place that went through a wildlife preserve, and then we ended up on the road that goes from Hinker, Hinckley, Minnesota to Danbury, Wisconsin. The road through the preserve always made me uncomfortable because it was a swampy bog on both sides of the road. It was a narrow gravel road, and in order to turn around, you would need to go down a very narrow drive to a parking area for hunters. I had only been in one of those parking areas once, and it freaked me out. We never saw a deer on that road, so we typically went past in that area. We would have avoided that gravel road altogether, but we always saw deer just before the preserve, and just after. On this evening, it was just my sister-in-law and I that went up on the deer road. This happened 15 or 16 years ago, so we did not have cell phones. Sometimes we would take cameras to take pictures of deer. That night, we didn't have a camera with us. One say, isn't it? We didn't have a camera. It was a hot night, and we had our windows down because the air conditioner wasn't working. I was driving a large 1998 Cadillac. I mean, a pretty decent sized car. Mhm. We just started down that creepy road when we noticed something black on the road about one half a mile ahead of us. We were driving pretty fast. As we got closer, it appeared to be dark gray in color. It also appeared to have an elongated muzzle. It had its back to us, but it was a little sideways, so we can tell it was eating something. Hmm, interesting. It is eating something in the road. I stopped the car and just kept my foot on the brake. This animal had very wide, muscular shoulders, and its fur was longer than a bear's. Its ears were pointed like a German shepherd's and stood upright on top of its head. This animal had hands. It was holding a dead rabbit, I think. I was talking to Amy. I said, "What is that?" I think I was verbalizing every thought that came into my head. I was totally freaked out. The animal noticed us. It started to turn its head. That's when I turned on my headlights. It was dark yet, but I wanted to see the thing better. It turned and faced my car. The headlights caught its eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Its eyes glowed reddish orange in the headlight. I freaked. To me, this creature was demonic in nature. Then it stood up straight, on its back leg. As this thing moved, it was jerky. It like it wasn't comfortable in its own skin. It was not a natural movement. The animal sprinted at my car. At it took at least 6 steps. I gunned my car right at it. I was in a panic. I was terrified. It turned right, stood upright, and dropped to all fours. Its legs had not bent to him, like backward knees. I just screamed, "What is that?" I ran. It ran to the swamp, and I got the hell out of there. On the road to we stopped on the road to our cabin. By then it was dark. When we stopped, Amy and I both cried. We couldn't stop shaking. We talked about what we had just seen. We both agreed we would tell Bill we had seen a bear. To be honest, at the time, I honestly thought it was a deformed bear. Today, I know it was not. I am no longer now. What I saw, I cannot understand or explain. It was just plain evil in nature. So wrong, very wrong. That's another thing. Everyone who says they see this says it's got this evil look to them. It's evil. I really think that's interesting. It's terrifying, to say the least. I gotta try one of these. Mom told me these are good. Peanut butter chocolate mix. It's actually really good. All right. Man, these encounters you hear, same thing. Same thing. I don't think all these are fake. All right. So this encounter happened many years ago when I was 15 years old. I only recently started reading information on the air describing this creature. I now have got to tell my story. Yeah, Wally Joel, tell their story years later because they're so afraid at the time. Um, so this encounter happened at my grandpa's lake cabin south of town, Danbury, Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin. Danbury. Oh, it's not really even a town. It's a uncorporated census designated place in Barrett County, Wisconsin. Town's actually called Swiss. And it's got a population, according to the most recent census in 2020, of 114 people. It's east of Highway 35 around Devil's Lake. My background has always been the great outdoors. Playing exploring the woods. During this time here, I was very comfortable going outside by myself for all-day adventures. On this night, on the night of this encounter, I had gone and sleep around 10 p.m. It was summer, so no school. Night was warm, so I had my bedroom window slightly cracked for some air circulation and to hear the cricket and outside noise. This was always put me to sleep every time because like I said, I was very comfortable in the woods and nothing was out of the ordinary. Now at that time, my grandparents' bedroom was on the other side of the cabin. They also had a black Labrador retriever that always slept in my room most of the time. This fact will come into the story later on. Oh god, I'm afraid that I'm gonna see a dog. That a dog's gonna die in this. I'm I am so like Jeremy. I hate sad dog stories because I'm a dog person. Actually, let me go and get my dog just to show. Because last time I brought him on, got a whole bunch of views. Maybe this will do the same. My sister's actually taking him on a walk, but when I will when he gets back, I'll hopefully still be hunting. So let's continue. I had fallen asleep like I always do in this cabin. However, no, in this cabin. Hours later, I never knew exactly what time it was, but it was late and everyone was asleep. I suddenly awoke feeling something was wrong. Still being groggy, the first thing I noticed was that nothing outside was making any noise at all. No crickets, frogs, whippoorwills, nothing but little signs. A whippoorwill is that's a type of bird, by the way. I just Googled it because I wasn't sure. Nothing, it's an eastern whippoorwill, I guess. Nothing but total silence. I held my breath for a minute, listening very intently, thinking that this was very odd. Again, total silence when these things. So they might have supernatural ability. So I held my breath for a minute, listening very intently, thinking that was very odd. I moved my head to see the door of my bedroom. The night light from the hallway was giving a slight glow, and I could see that my grandparents' dog was not laying in his normal spot on the floor or in any place in my room. I guess maybe 2 or 3 minutes had passed, and then I heard a sound that to me sounded like a raccoon or some animal scratching the outside of the cabin. This continued, and my mind wondered what the heck had been making those noises. It was still really silent, except that scratching noise began to move down the wall closer to the window of the bedroom. So I turned my attention to it. It was very dark outside, but I could still make out a slight silhouette of the trees and the branches up high. All at once, the scratching stopped. I started to adjust my eyes, and that's when it stepped out of the shadows and blocked the view of the trees. It was huge. No animal I knew or could envision was standing in my view. I couldn't make out any features of its body, but I could see the distinct ears of a canine on a large head. Then I saw its eyes and was paralyzed with fear. It was hunched down, looking in the window. Its eyes were glowing amber colors and blinked every 10 to 15 seconds. My mind was racing. Can't see me? What's it gonna do? What am I gonna do? A chill went down my spine. I could hear it breathing. A loud exhale that was deep, but not overly loud. Then it began to sniff the air. I could hear it clearly, only being around 10 to 15 feet away from it. About 30 seconds elapsed which felt like forever, but looking back, it was not much time at all. The creature began to show its teeth, almost like a grin of satisfaction that it had scared me so badly. Another thing, these creatures seem to like to get enjoyment out of scaring people. Honestly, I'm pretty sure whoever came up with death, they looked into Dogman encounters. Death from Puss in Boots 2, who the wolf. I'm starting to consider that just give this some thing sickle, some scythes, two scythes, and a hood, and give it a Brazilian accent. And we'll be like, I just love the smell of fear. Uh, Time stood still, then it stood up off its haunches, erect like a man, and walked off away from the window in the direction of the lake. I knew this was my chance, so I jumped out of bed into the hallway. Jumped out of the bed into the hallway, away from the window, and began to breathe heavily because I think I held my breath for over 2 minutes. I looked into the living room and could see the dog staying totally still in a rigid posture, hair standing on the end with a slight growl looking at the deck window. I turned to the hallway closet, grabbed my 22 gauge shotgun and loaded it. There was only a single shot, but it was better than nothing. I thought to myself while I tried to catch my breath. Then I realized if it wanted to come in the house, it could easily do it by breaking the glass on the deck patio. If it did that, I had no place to go because I was trapped between my bedroom and that patio to my grandparents' room, where my grandfather had a deer rifle that I couldn't get to. I stood waiting around 5 minutes and nothing happened. The dog seemed to calm down and walk over to me and sat down, wanting to get his head scratched. I thought about waking up my grandparents and telling them what I saw, but at the time I don't think they would believe me. After all, I couldn't believe in myself. So I calmed down, went back to my room, pulled the covers off the bed, and slept on the floor with the gun and the dog at the ready in a half sleep for the rest of the night. This encounter has scared me so bad I didn't even want to get close to the window to close it all that night, for fear of that thing coming back. I waited until dawn before I closed and locked it. Once daylight was in full force, I went outside to see if I could find any scratches on the wall or anything else like footprints. I didn't find anything out and started to wonder if I was being crazy. No, that thing was real. I continued to sleep on the floor for about a week before I felt it was okay to sleep in my bed again. But that window stayed closed and locked ever since. I didn't have any encounter with a dogman at that instant, and the memory was pulled out of my mind over time until recently. I was reading encounters on your website and saw that two other people had encountered in the same area as me. I saw their encounters When I saw their encounters, I decided to share my experience. You don't know what true primal fear is until you've seen one of these things and are face to face with one of them. I never want to experience it again. Anonymous. Time 2 a.m. Date July of 1984. Literally 1984. Wait, why the heck is. Oh, I thought the reason why Fuji was trending was because Mount Fuji was erupting. I was like, what? Really? A lot of these Wisconsin ones happened. I'm just gonna check. See my dog. This is my dog is such a like dogs. They're the best. Whenever you Most of the time, if you treat them right, they'll come in. And what they'll do is they'll be like, hi, 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 hi. They get so excited. That's why I'm always been a dog person. Not just that reason, but my sister and my mom have always been allergic to cats. But so far, a lot of this is more legitimate than the Gable film, which Monster Quest proved to be a hoax. Like, it was a good project, like a lost film, but convinced a lot of people the way the guy did. It's brilliant. A lot of these occur in a cabin. Honestly, that's where I'd want to not be outside when I see one of these dogmen. My wife and I were driving back to our cabin we have in the wood in the Northwoods after visiting friends in town. It was a hot, muggy summer night, but it was cooling down fast, which made it start to get foggy. The road went about a half a mile through a spruce bog, then up a hill to where a farm field was on the right. Hardwoods were on the left. I was in my mid-50s at the time and did not believe in like what we were about to see. Out of the fog from the farm field going from right to left came a creature. This creature was about 8 to 10 feet off the ground. The best way to describe what we saw would be to say it looked like a person who had jumped off a trampoline and took off with their arms stretched out in front of them with their legs bent. It was upright, however, and was covered all over with fur. It was not a coyote or a wolf, but looked like a cross between a man and some kind of canine. It had point ears and a long snout. My wife there said the head reminded her of the ancient Egyptian god with a dog head, but furry. So Anubis, I think that's what she means. Connection is okay. It landed flat on its feet directly in front of my white van, no more than 20 feet away. The crazy thing is, it landed and jumped like a kangaroo, flying back off into the fog. Oh my god. Its arms were still sticking straight out in front of it. It did not act or look like any canine we know. We had been going slowly because of the fog. As soon as we saw that thing, she stomped on the van. We just looked at each other. They're like, did we really see that? However, we did see it. And it still freaks us out to this day. Another weird thing is both of us thought this was not of this world. It did not move naturally. And and that was just the feeling we got. We don't tell many people about what we saw because people we have told don't believe or I don't believe what we saw. However, I did tell a good friend of mine who didn't laugh because he said when he was a little kid, his father, who was a logger, used to tell him about the loggers in the woods seeing Dogman. I'm so glad I found this website. I can see other rational people have seen similar creatures. Like some others, I was with someone who witnessed it too. It must be really difficult for someone who sees one of these things by themselves to try and explain to others what they saw. Anonymous, Dave Encounter, 08, 2009. So in August of 2009. So I think that was Price Brown now. Yeah, let me see. Like, it says return home with the dog. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like he's going to end. Fortunately, I'm gonna have to leave soon. So we'll read one more story, and this is a short one. So this is from Brown Coyote. This is the last one we'll read because I have dinner. So this happened to me when I was 10 or 11. I'm just about to turn 20 now, but I'll never forget what happened that day. Oh, darn it! He's so smart, my dog. About to turn 20. I'll never forget what happened that day. I was at my grandpa's house, who were watching me for the day. They live out in a mixture of farmland and woods in rural Wisconsin. Their yard is mostly surrounded by farmland, but to the right side is a couple of acres of wood and a swamp. It was really hot, muggy morning in July. I was hanging out on the deck, shooting at some cans with my BB gun. All of a sudden, I got the sense that something was wrong. I felt like It felt like I was being watched. I started scanning the tree line and down the edge of the tree, about 60 yards away by the swamp slash woods and by this thing standing that I can only describe as a dogman. It was 7 feet tall, covered with shaggy gray hair and classic dogman face. Long snout, point, ears on the top of the head, yellow eyes, and it was very muscular. It was standing on two legs, but it appeared to be sort of leaning up against the tree. We locked eyes, and while it was probably only 10 seconds, it felt like hours. It sounds silly, but I felt like the thing had a sinister grin on its face. It was extremely intimidating. I know that thing wanted to kill me. It could have easily done. I could I could relive this encounter my age now with the shotgun instead of the BB gun, and I'd still be as terrified as I was then. It definitely had a very negative and sinister vibe to it. After locking eyes with the thing, it bolted off on two legs through some of the swamp and emerged far down the tree line, and then ran off into the forest. At first, I thought it might have been one of my older cousins playing joke on me who lived nearby, but then I realized there's no way they could be wearing a suit, be 7 feet tall, and clear a swamp as fast as that thing. I wasn't going to tell my grandma and grandpa I saw a werewolf down by the swamp. They'd never believe me, so I just kept my mouth shut and carrying on with my day there. Well, later that afternoon, I was talking to my aunt, and she brought up the fact that she had heard strange noises the night before. When I asked what they sounded like, she said it was a lot of snarling and growling. It kind of sounded like an animal being attacked. This is an anonymous time, 10 or 11 a.m., 2005 or 2006. So, and I forgot to share screen. Okay, well, I mean, a lot of these people, whether it's in I just got the two of the states. We didn't get all the others. I mean, got the eyes, sinister brain, and you know where else is a dog man or werewolf? How about Brazil apparently? And before we close out, Let me actually share this. I kind of think this is fake. God, that is creepy though. That is creepy though. Like, personally, I do think it's kind of fake, but so this is another one from Argentina. Like, you see that thing? Yeah. That is weird. Like, there's something about this, though. That one seemed a little more believable than the one from Brazil, but what do you think? Comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.